we've talked about elevations. Now let's talk about sections. A section is a view through the building as if you took a vertical saw blade or slicer and sliced through the middle of the building somewhere, and you're showing the reader what is left there that the saw cut through, essentially. Sorry. Thinking about the sheet numbering, you might recall that sections have sheet numbers that start with a 3. So for example, in an architectural set, your section sheets could be A301, for example. Now we could have a great big section that's an overview of the entire building. And you can see here, this is out of our book, you can see that we have grid line bubbles across the top. You can see we have some dimensions between floors, giving the floor to ceiling height. You can see we have elevation lines giving finished floor elevation. You can see we have room numbers. See those boxes there? Those are the room numbers again, identifying for sure where we are. And then some notes talking about what the materials are. This is from the National CAD standard. They're pointing out that the building section will, if you're showing the whole building, will be the same scale as your floor plan so that your reader can easily relate the two. But you can also have more close-up detail sections. For example, you might want to show the contractor how a particular wall assembly is put together in detail. So you can use one of these section details for that. Here is the National CAD standard telling us what kinds of dimensions we should put on a wall section. So I put this in here for you for your reference. In naming the layers in your CAD drawing, section, or SECT, is a major group. So when you're doing a section drawing, at the least, your CAD layer will be A-sect. And that might be enough, but you might decide you want to add some minor groups and some status codes to that too, depending on how big your project is. In the next set of slides and PowerPoints, we're going to look at these symbols in a little bit more detail. But for now, let's just introduce the idea that you mark on the plan view or on another section view what direction the section, where it has been cut and what direction you're looking. In these bubbles, these indicators, you always put the number of the section in the top, and you always put the number of the sheet in the bottom. And you always put the text horizontal. So it always is set up that way, no matter what angle the arrow is pointing at, or whether it's to the left or the right or the up or the down. The dividing of the circle always goes that way. Section number in the top, sheet number in the bottom. I'm going to talk about that in the next set of slides. So you can go to your plan view and put these section indicators on the plan to show the reader where the sections have been cut and what direction the reader's eye is looking. So I'm going to come back to this later. This is in our textbook. They're showing us here is one sheet where they're calling out a detail, a section detail. That's on page A7.1 according to this. Now here's page A7.1 and there's that section detail. Here's an example of a bunch of wall details out of a drugstore set of plans. And here's another example.